Okay, so if you are to look at somebody's cross-section of the face, where they're laying on their back, this is the nose, this is the mouth, right? So this is the mouth area right here, this is the tongue area right here, and this is the airway. So you've got two ways where air can travel. Air can travel, or it can go into the nose, and it can go into the mouth. But the problem is back here. So in this area here, this is where the back of the tongue is, and this is where the fats get stored. And in this area specifically, right here is where you can have tissues so big because of fat storage that you can actually get an obstruction. So typically what will happen is that when you're awake, you can breathe through this area. But when you go to sleep, your muscles go to sleep. And when they go to sleep, they become flexible. And this is not a PVC pipe or anything, so it's not rigid. And especially with gravity, you're lying on your back, your tongue muscle falls back and this area becomes flabby, and finally it can become obstructed. So your lungs, which is down here, and of course your diaphragm, which is contracting in this direction, it's causing the lungs to expand. And that's going to cause air to try to get in. So you've got negative pressure. And that's going to try to suck air in. But because there is a blockage here, there is no airflow because of the obstruction. So you're basically sleeping, and when you're sleeping, the lungs are breathing on their own because they're getting input from the medulla oblongata of the brain. But because of the tissue here, the back of the throat, there is no air that can get in because of the obstruction. So now, as this happens, your pulse ox, or your O2 saturation, starts to drop. And the resistance increases. It starts to increase. So what it does is it sends signal up to the brain that says there's a problem. And what it does do is it causes the brain to arouse out of its sleep, sometimes completely waking up. And what it does is it sends signal down to this area again to tighten up. And air starts to get in again. And when air starts to go in, the sympathetic response from the lungs stops, and the brain goes back to sleep again. And this area, once again, right here, it becomes flabby and it closes off. So that's obstructive sleep apnea. And actually you can also notice the O2 would actually would have a cyclic pattern that looks like this. So that is the pathophysiology of obstructive sleep apnea.